All right, welcome everybody. Hopefully people are showing up. I started the wrong room and who knows? something went wrong. Had to start again. All right, welcome folks. While you're joining me, I will get TikTok rolling. Hopefully people didn't get totally confused with the other room appearing and disappearing. We shall see. All right. Can I actually get my iPad working? There we go. Hey, Noah. Yes, had a little problem with the other room. Hey, Alec. All right, guys. There we go. There you are, Gunther. Well, I started the other room and it did that thing where it's the wrong camera, which drives me insane. So let me adjust this. So it was not showing any camera, and I was like, oh, forget it. So yeah. We are back now. All right, let me get as I said, TikTok rolling. Oops. Boom. Live goal. 1 second here, really quick. Where are my glasses? Here are my glasses. Here are my glasses. Here are my glasses. 1 second here. Welcome everybody on YouTube. I'm getting TikTok set up. You know the usual. The little pumpkin. Yeah, the bigger pumpkin, it doesn't let me find, which is annoying. Yeah. Oh well. Sorry guys, I'm looking here, looking here on TikTok. And my allergies are going off. I think because we're using some kind of wood polish in the room, which would make sense. I knew it was going to do it, and it's totally triggering my allergies. What a surprise. Hang on, YouTubers. Still getting a TikTok set up here. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I don't know where that other thing is. I was trying to find that thing that people buy that does the team thing, but I don't know that it actually shows me the team thing. I think it's something that like you guys can see and I can't. Yeah, I don't think so. 1 second here, Rockstar. Actually, that Rockstar thing. Actually, that Day of the Dead thing was really freaking cool. Is it going to show me that? Hold on, I'm looking for that Day of the Dead thing. It can't be that expensive. I don't think it's going to show me. Anyway, hang on. Yes, this is the right one. We had a little bit of a glitch before. We're better now. Is it going to show me the Day of the Dead thing? I'm trying to see if I can actually see the Day of the Dead gift. Come on, guys. TikTok, yet again, like I said, the day I get to run TikTok, things will actually work. There's the Day of the Dead. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's not too bad. Well, we can try that. All right. There's the Day of the Dead, because that Day of the Dead gift was so cool. You tagged me on Discord. Yes, I'm forgetting. You tagged me on something. It was an article. I looked at it and then I went on with preparing for the show and forgot what it was. What was it exactly? But I did see it. But tell me again what it was. Hang on, guys. All right, TikTok is rolling. There we go. TikTok is rolling now. Excellent. Oh yeah, the Belarus. That was a weird story. I almost wasn't going to talk about it because it's such a weird story. It didn't really make sense. It's just a very weird story. Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is with that story. No, it's a weird story about Belarus saying, "Oh, we will never join Russia. Like we're going to stay independent because if we joined Russia, that would mean war." It was such a weird. It was just a very weird thing for them to say. Yeah. Hey Ash. Hey guys. Hey TikTokers. YouTube Premium, no idea how that works, James. As I said, we bought some oil or whatever for the walls, and I think they're triggering my allergies very subtly, but I finally noticed now it's doing. Actually, I'm gonna open the door a little more. 1 second. Once I shut the door, they started getting triggered. There we go. That's a little better. It's not bad. It's just enough to annoy me, though. Thank you, Bryce, Flower Lady. There's the Day of the Dead. Thank you, Flower Lady. I love that gift. Thank you, Mike Tone. That could be the coolest gift we've had, the Day of the Dead one. I mean, it's just so interesting. It's a little bit of drag. Somebody was saying that it's kind of drag. It's carnival. Thank you, Martin. Oh, and we've already achieved the team quest. Join my team. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Martin. Bryce. Cool. Carol. Woo, Elizabeth. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it didn't let me. I can't see the join my team gift on my side. I looked at it. I was going to pick it today as the goal, and I can't find it. So YouTube is working. It should be. YouTube, you're still working. I'm assuming you're all still there. Let's hope. I'll know as soon as somebody puts another comment on YouTube. But, yep, they're there. They're there. Yep, still there. Hey, Chazak. Hey, Richard. They are still there. Don't blink. That's the Doctor Who episode. Although maybe you didn't mean to make that reference. I don't know. Was it called Blink or something? Oh my God, that was one of the most terrifying TV shows of my life. Thank you, Squish. Thank you, Gamer. I have to actually pull that one up again. It was so good. Anyway, the walls are shiny. I know the walls are shinier. Well, we were trying to find like, thank you, Grumpy. And who did Day of the Dead? Oh, Grumpy did the Day of the Dead. Thank you. The day that did. Thank you, Squish. Thank you, Mike Tone. We were trying to find, we were noticing the wall, even though, whoever buys the house will probably get rid of the walls. Nonetheless, they're kind of dry and, scratched and everything. And we were trying like different wood polish, and it is shinier though. Like here, you guys I'll show you. You can probably see back there. It's shinier. You can tell definitely on YouTube. But I don't want to go crazy. But we were like, if we're gonna have wood paneling, we might as well have somebody walk in and go, "Oh, wood paneling," but it is pretty, So can't hurt, right? Anyway, thank you, Ethan. How are we doing today, guys? We got a decent. We do not have a ton of news today, but we've got interesting news today. I will say that. I think there's a number of interesting stories about Ukraine and the election, but there isn't a ton of news. So we will talk about that. Thank you, Ethan. We're 12 days away from the U.S. presidential election and congressional elections. Very scary. Very scary. Still tightening a little bit more, actually, which is, I don't even understand this. The polls are getting even tighter, meaning Trump is slowly doing better. There is no excuse for Trump doing better. No excuse. Heritage Foundation canceled a lecture at the Naval Academy. There was, depending what you mean. The Naval Academy, I believe, canceled a lecture by a famous historian. Quit smoking. Yeah, I don't smoke, but thank you. Can't quit what you've never done. Thank you. I have allergies. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Jorge, especially for the Day of the Dead gift. We love that. Somebody was able to grab the picture of the Day of the Dead stuff on me. It's wild. It's a wild gift. Thank you, Lunatize. It's a little gay. It's a little drag. It's sort of Day of the Dead drag, I would call it. It's a very good gift. It's very cool. Thank you, Lunatized. Yep, we're going to talk about Maddie. Thank you, or my W. I know. I think the hair is like at a good length now, and since I lost a little, even more weight in Chicago, like I think I like my look now. A little bit skinnier. The hair is short, although I kind of enjoy the shortness. Sweet and lemon oil. That's interesting, WC. Thank you, Maddie. I'm going to try Tusk oil next because Tusk oil was another one that was highly recommended. Going to try it and see. My sister and I are just kind of messing around a little bit, to be honest. Just thought if we could make the walls look a little nicer, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. We never did oil them. We should have oiled them. I mean, over the years, because they're wood. It just looks better, but what do you do? Thank you, Lamb Chop. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I'm getting ready to start, I think. We can do that. I'm trying to see here real quick. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ava. I'm telling you, that is the goofiest, coolest, weirdest gift. Oh, there's Paula. Hang on. Paula was having a hard time with the auctions. Okay, sorry. Paula, you're confusing me a little if you're on live with us right now because I don't understand your point. Not sure how far the bids have for on the angel and the jewelry box. I don't quite know what that means in English. Do you mean what the current bids are or how long the auctions go? I will, if you're live with us, I will tell you the jewelry box bid goes another 5 hours, which is good. What was the other one? I'm trying to remember what she said for the other. Hang on, guys. Oh, the angel. Hang on. Let's see if the angel is still. Oh, the Murano glass angel is for another 2 hours. Okay. So those are still there. I don't know if Paula is Paula. Oh, you are there. Okay. Comes up with an error message. Okay. Danish wood oil. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. Interesting, Paula. So, Syndicate's the one to. Okay. Do two things for me. Sorry, guys. We're having a little Discord problem. Paula can't get the auctions working. Think Adventures, Eileen, 62, Ava. Go back to Discord. Look for the support section in the top left, or the welcome section. Welcome section in the top left. One of the 4 things underneath says support. Click it and submit a ticket because Syndicate has to look at this anyway. What I would suggest you do is message me privately like what your bid is, and I can at least add your bid. The problem is, I won't necessarily be constantly checking. So if somebody outbids you, you might be, in trouble. But at least I can submit your bid currently. Because I can do that manually, but obviously it should be working. But I would prefer that you, in any case, go and submit the support ticket under welcome, because Syndicate needs to know about this so he can try to dog it, and he can only dog it if you submit the ticket, etc. And he gets a notification right away. He may even come right away and ask you what's going on. So please do. Blue sent a subscription. Thank you, Blue. Thank you, 62. As a 70s kid, all our wood paneling were basically photo wallpaper fused on thin plywood. This stuff, we bought this house in 71. The wood paneling was already here. So this stuff, has been here a while. Now, that sweater, you mean this sweater? This is my favorite French gas station sweater, service station sweater. It's different on Android. Just go and what you should see is top left among the variant sections. You see a section called Welcome. Underneath Welcome, the subsections are Read Me, Please Verify, General Rules, Support. You want to click Support. And then when you get to Support, you want to click the button that says Request Support. Okay? You should have those buttons there. But yeah, we had the wood paneling in 1971. Oh yeah, so this is my favorite little sweater because I bought this sweater at a French gas station in the middle of nowhere between Paris and Normandy. And literally we stop at like one of those big gas stations that has food and everything else. And I kid you not, they're selling sweaters. And I'm like, that's weird at a gas station, but why not, right? A food gas station. And of course, France being France, the sweaters are just totally hot. I mean, you can see it. Actually, I'll take my little mic off. It's, you either zip it up and it's kind of cool. You leave it open a little and it's kind of cool. It's almost like a ski sweater. It was 15 euros for this stupid sweater. And I probably bought this thing 15 years ago and it's holding up. I mean, knock on wood, it's holding up perfectly. You got to love France sometimes, This is the one I picked up at the French gas stop. Yeah, it's a sweater. Yep. I know WC is going to need it. We're going to need a restraining order because WC wants my sweater. It's funny, actually. Once I'd read about people from the Midwest of the U.S. where I'm from, and that basically when you compliment somebody from the Midwest, again, Chicago area, the farmland, this part of the country's farmlands other than the big cities. Thank you, Nicola. They say typically people from the Midwest, when you compliment them, thank you, Mustard, will respond by, when you compliment something they're wearing, their clothing or something, they will respond by telling you how cheap it was. And it's very funny because I've caught myself doing it, like today, where they'll go, oh my God, I got it for the cheapest thing at Marshall's or whatever. There's something about the Midwest where we don't want to take credit for having expensive or spending money or something like that. So it's very funny of a thing where people will, even like this, I said, oh, it's my cheap French, gas station sweater. And I love that I got it cheap and that it's a fabulous sweater. We like a bargain, but I think there's something psychological as well, Ashley, where we don't like to seem like we have money or that we're spending money or something. There's some aspect of that as well. I don't know, like, so that you're almost cutting back on the compliment a little bit, right? Someone compliments you and you go, oh yeah, it was totally cheap. So that you're almost saying like, yeah, no, I'm not. It's a funny thing. Yeah. But we do love a deal. Yes. And so I love that this is my cheap $15. It was 15 euros. My $15 sweater from a French gas station, and it still is holding up after 15 years. Anyway. All right, guys, let's get rolling here. Yeah, Indiana too, same deal. It's a Midwest thing, exactly. All right, guys, so let's get rolling. So let's talk about the election first. Actually, first thing, tomorrow morning, I've got to set it up when we finish the show. We've got our coffee talk tomorrow morning. That is the free show I do, not the free show, the special show I do only for the paid subscribers as a thank you. It's every Saturday morning, 10:30 Chicago time tomorrow, 11:30 Washington D.C. time tomorrow. I'll check with Vlad. Actually, let me text Vlad right now because I always forget to sort of check in with Vlad. Hold on, let me send him a message. Vlad's our Ukrainian friend. Any chance you can join us? Any chance you can join us tomorrow? What is it? 11:30 Eastern time. Okay, there we go. Otherwise, sometimes Vlad joins us and gives us kind of a first-person Ukrainian perspective on what's going on with the war. Otherwise, we sit and chat, but it's a nice chance for you guys to be able to sit with me in a much more easy hangout kind of thing. We basically, I can answer all your questions. I don't have notes. So it's just it's a chance to hang out with the paid subscribers. So anyway, all right, we're starting the news, Dick. This happened. You saw, is this Colonel Mustard's fake account or something, or his troll account, Dick Bull? Sometimes the show is just us hanging out for a while, chatting about stuff. It happens. Mustard is the one who usually gets pissy about it. That's why I'm laughing that the Dick is also like, where's the news? Where's the news? All right, we're starting the news. Relax. All right. Anyway. All right, Paula, I'm hoping you were able to figure out where the support thing is. You did. Okay, perfect. All right. But yeah, send me a private message on there that tells me how much you want to bid. Maybe even tell me how much you want to bid max. Because I can try to check back, but let me see, because I can't, only because this is not working for you. I feel bad. All right, let's go, guys. 11 days to the election. The polls are tightening. Big surprise. This is from the Washington Post. The tightening in the polls we have seen over the last few weeks, and our post-pulse presidential polling average continues. While Vice President Harris is still ahead nationally, as well as in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, all key states. Her lead in Pennsylvania has decreased to 1 percentage point. That's a tie. Donald Trump continues to lead in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. All of these are key states. This is very uncomfortably close. This is not good. Bob asked an interesting question. Do you think the polls are going to be 50-50 for at least a couple more election cycles? I mean, look, there's two things going on. Trump's a fascist, and clearly and sadly, thank you, KT, there are a lot of Americans who like fascism, clearly. They want a strong man. They want a racist. They want someone who hates people. They want someone whose mission is to go after people they hate. They want to hate their fellow Americans. They want to hate immigrants. They want to hate Black people, women, Latinos, Muslims, Arabs, right? It is a strain of fascism in our country, clearly. And I would say not just in our country, it's human beings. Thank you, Ethan. What the whole Trump experience has taught me is, and I've talked about this before, but Americans, we do like to think that we are exceptional in many ways, that we do have a great country. Donald Trump doesn't think it's great. He thinks it's a, I forgot the word he used recently. He called us a trash can or something of a country. Trump hates us, but we know Trump hates us. That's not surprising. He hates our troops too. But a lot of us do think this country is very exceptional in many ways. And I think it is. But I think we thought that the Europeans were different. That basically, Europe has fascism, and Europe had communism. They've got all the crazy parties, right? Thank you, Randy. Right, like they got communists and fascists, and we don't have that, right? Austria keeps electing quasi-Nazis, and the Hungarians and the Slovaks want to be Soviet puppets again, right? And you get the communists in France and Greece, especially, right? You sort of think Europe's got those extremes, and we don't have that. And what Trump has shown us is that America has just the same extremes, and it's not just that we have the extremes. But part of what we always thought as Americans was Europeans have got this fringe thing with politics, right? So that they go with fascism, they go with communism. We don't do that here. We're much more in the middle. And what we found was, guess what? We do actually go with fascism just as much as the Europeans do. Hungary, Slovakia, Donald Trump, it's the same thing. Thank you, Neil. It's fascism. And it's not just fascism, but it's anti-America. It's anti-Americanism. It's un-Americanism. And half the country's fine with it. Thank you, Randy, Fred, Hazel. It's very scary. Now, the question is, as far as what this means going forward, somebody was asking for next elections. Part of the problem with this election is half the country likes fascism. Trump's a fascist, so they like it. Half the problem is Kamala Harris is a woman and she's Black. And even though we had a Black president twice, there's still a lot of racism. There definitely is a lot of sexism. I mean, we've talked about this before. The number of women leaders we have had around the world, leaders, heads of state, heads of countries, astounding. Going back 50 years. Margaret Thatcher in England, in the UK, was 40 years ago. They elected a woman, guys. 40 years ago. We've never elected a woman. Never elected a woman. It's crazy. I mean, but that's what we're dealing with Kamala Harris. Is you've got the anti-woman prejudice, and you've also got the racism too. You know, I like when Tina, who's probably a Russian, says Kamala Harris is hardly black. Her profile picture is white, which also makes me laugh because, first of all, she's probably not American anyway. But it makes me laugh because white people absolutely think Kamala Harris is black. This is the same crap they pulled on Obama, the racist right, the Republicans, who are basically a racist party now, basically claimed about Barack Obama that he wasn't black. And I was like, I got news for you. As a white person, I'm like the expert on white. I mean, per se, defining race in America, especially black and white, is done by the other side. Right? Like you're black and you're prejudiced. By the way, you are treated poorly as a black person because of how white people perceive you, or not just white people. Other people are prejudiced against blacks too. Kamala Harris is as black as you get. Like Barack Obama is as black as you get. Again, even Barack Obama, like the blackest man alive, right? Walking. I mean, look at the man. He's black. They would say this, but he's not really black. And that's part of the racism. Because the irony is the people on the right, the MAGA Republicans who walk around and say Kamala Harris isn't black, they're the ones who hate her because she is black. I mean, that's the irony. They're pretending like, oh, she's not really black. They freaking hate her because she's black. They hate her because she's a woman, and they hate her because she's black. But it always kind of cracks me up. But especially somebody pretending, and that was a fake account. She's like some white chick account, and you're going, sure she is. Sure she is. Kamala Harris isn't really black. Sure, babe. Yeah, I know, because you're such an expert sitting in Moscow. Like, okay. Anyway, but yeah, so the polls, I mean, they're tied this time because she's black and she's a woman, so she's not getting as much support as she would normally. And Donald Trump's a fascist, and half of America likes fascism. In the future elections now, and the country's very divided, but honestly, that's kind of bullshit. When you hear the media and people say the country is so divided, Australian Greek, yeah, Azteca Misu. So I just told her to go fuck herself. Thank you, Jen. Actually, that was even better. An Australian Greek is trying to tell Americans who is and who isn't a black American. That's almost better than a Russian troll. An Australian white chick thinking she's going to tell Americans who is and isn't black in America. I mean, could you do like the whitest thing possible? I mean, could you be any like racist white? Then I'm from another country and I'm going to like tell you who's black and white. Anyway, what do you do? All right. So, but yeah, what I was going to say too is you get a lot of these like pundits saying America is more sharply divided than ever. America's not divided. We've got fascists. We've got a fascist wing of America now. America's not divided. That's like saying Germany was divided between Nazis and Jews. It wasn't divided, right? A large part of the country went crazy and embraced evil. That's not so divided. When you say the country's divided, that's equating the two. It's suggesting that, oh, this side doesn't like this side and this side doesn't like this side. I mean, yes, the Nazis didn't like the Jews and the Jews didn't like the Nazis. Germany was not divided, sharply divided, right? It was bad people took over and oppressed everybody else. That does not make you Stalin. The Soviet Union was not sharply divided. It was a dictatorship oppressing its people. North Korea, a dictatorship oppressing its people. The Republican Party right now is a wannabe dictator that wants to oppress Americans and it wants to oppress people from around the world. That does not make America sharply divided. It means the Republican Party has turned into a cult and part of America has joined a cult. Absolutely. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Running. But, it's just amazing. So many Germans didn't know about the death camps. Well, supposedly, while it was happening, although you have to wonder because some of the war movies I've watched, and thank you, Maddie, they were talking about how, I forgot whether it was in Poland or where, but like some of the death camps, the townspeople lived like a couple miles away. And exactly what Daryl just said, the smell. And they were talking about how actually I saw a movie about this, but I believe it was based on something true. Or it could have been a documentary, or it could have been a docudrama. I thought it was a movie though that I saw recently of a Polish death camp. And remind me, guys, this was some movie I saw recently, and it was a Polish death camp, and how in the end they brought the citizens from the nearby village and forced them to walk through the Allied troops forced them to walk through the death camp. And I mean, and they had to bury the bodies. Then they forced these women in their, Sunday clothes or whatever, these Polish women, Polish or German, I don't recall, but to bury the bodies, because they basically said you knew exactly what was going on. It wasn't Saving Private Ryan, because I haven't seen that in years. It couldn't have been. It might have been a documentary, but like a docudrama. It was really wild. Was it Patton who ordered it? Noah's saying, yeah, it was wild. So the point was kind of suspect that they didn't know, right? That a couple miles away, thousands and tens of thousands of human beings were being burned. When, I mean, you can smell that stuff, Exactly. Gypsies, Catholics. Oh, it was gays. It was people with disabilities. It was everything, man. Yeah, it was horrible. Anyway, no, they knew. But anyway, yeah, I just don't remember the, I think it was I want to say a documentary again, but it was like a docudrama, because I remember them showing like pictures of the citizens, but it was like a drama, of course. Don't know. Did all Americans know about the Japanese camps? Obviously not the same thing, in the sense that they weren't being burned alive, or burned alive. I guess the Nazis gassed them first. Horrific outrage against the Japanese Americans, but still a little different in terms of the gravity of it. Still horrible, but they didn't kill them, and they weren't trying to wipe out the race entirely. Don't know if people knew, but honestly, it would have been. I mean, you could have lived a couple miles away and not known potentially about the American camps that were for the Japanese Americans during World War II, because how would you know? I mean, you'd have to have somebody work there and tell you. You're not going to, we're talking about literally, if you live 3 miles away from a death camp, you can smell people's bodies burning. People worked in the camp. They knew exactly what was going on. If you worked in this camp and saw Japanese, then you knew. First of all, I don't know. The good question though, whether the Americans knew. Americans may have known, but I wouldn't be surprised during World War II, there would have been a lot of panic about Japanese. It's unfair now in retrospect, but I wouldn't be surprised if people knew about it at the time. No, the question is whether they knew at the time, Jason. That's what I'm wondering. Like, did Americans know that these people were being interned? I would assume they did too, because their Japanese neighbors are literally getting called up and, thrown in a prison camp. I think people would know. They must have known. In any case, all right. So, David said my dad saw his best friend get called away. Yes, I'm assuming people knew. Anyway, all right, let's go. So, the Wall Street Journal. So this is interesting. So big story today about Chinese hackers going after Trump and Vance, but also going after some of the senior Biden administration officials, some of Kamala Harris's top aides. It wasn't clear, according to the Wall Street Journal, it wasn't clear what data the hackers were able to obtain from any of these devices. They went after the phones of Trump and Vance and people affiliated with Kamala Harris's campaign. The hackers are believed to be tied to China's intelligence services. Investigators have notified a bipartisan group of politicians targeted by the hackers. Investigators now believe that the hackers gained access to U.S. telecom infrastructure and targeted or compromised at least several dozen different companies and people. They're taunting us, one person involved in the response said. What is the diplomatic messaging behind them doing it? Them showing us that they're doing it and continuing to do it after they're caught. So basically, thinking Crazy American, one of the things they did is the companies and things would then put up firewalls to try to stop them, and they'd attack again. So it was like the Chinese didn't even care that they were caught. They wanted us to know that they were attacking our systems, and they were continuing to attack our systems because they were being obnoxious about it, frankly. Says the brazenness of the operation marked a new frontier in how the Chinese government is leveraging cyber activity against the U.S. Little more here. Please keep the gifts coming, by the way. As we said, I do this for a living, and your gifts literally pay the bills. So please keep them coming, guys. I appreciate it. And remember the gift subscriptions. You can give gift subscriptions to folks on here. They'll go for a month. You can do it generically, and the computer will allot it, or you can pick individual people and give the gifts memberships to. And you could also just do your own gift membership. gift yourself and join us for the special show tomorrow that we do for the subscribers only. Thank you, Ellie. There we go. Thank you. Who is that? Jay Shay? No, that was Helian. Oh, thank you, Helian. Appreciate that. Jay Shay did do a chili, though. Dave, Ellie, thank you for the ghost. All right, a little more here. Elon Musk. Oh, God, this is another wild call. It was a call. Elon Musk, this is from Wall Street Journal, but it's all over the news. Since 2022, Elon Musk has been having an ongoing series of secret phone calls with Vladimir Putin and senior Russian officials. Thank you, NAR. Thank you, Luis. Why does that matter? Thank you, Jay Shay. Because Elon Musk is a top American defense contractor. Elon Musk has lots of government contracts, billions of dollars of government contracts. He has a very high security clearance. If he's palling around with America's enemies and having secret conversations with America's enemies, it's a problem. And what really, I've talked about this the other day, what really bothers me about Elon Musk, I had a top secret SCI security clearance, code word it's called. It's the highest level of clearance, but there's still levels there. It's kind of hard to explain. It's above top secret, but thank you, Squish, again. But it's my clearance was very high. I had code word because I was dealing with nuclear weapons and arms control. You can still get much higher, like the president himself, basically, right? But still, it was a very high clearance. I would have lost my clearance if I did one of the things Elon Musk has done. The only reason Elon Musk has not lost his security clearance and that he still gets government contracts, thank you, Nisha, is because, thank you, Care For You, is because the Biden administration has decided to overlook Elon's, I don't want to say crimes, they're not crimes, but Elon's excess, I don't even know what to call it. Literally, and anybody out here that's had a clearance knows exactly what I'm talking about. There is no way you would keep your security clearance after doing the things Elon Musk did. He's only keeping it because Biden's told them leave him alone. And that's obnoxious as hell. That's absolutely obnoxious as hell. I don't care how important the guy is. If he's a national security threat, he loses his clearance. But in any case, so yes, we found out Elon Musk has had an ongoing series of secret phone calls with Putin. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Thank you, Pedro. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and a linchpin of the U.S. space efforts, has been in regular contact with Russian President Putin since late 2022. The discussions, confirmed by several current and former U.S., European, and Russian officials, touch on personal topics, business, and geopolitical tensions. At one point, Putin asked the billionaire to avoid activating his Starlink satellite internet service over Taiwan as a favor to Chinese President Xi. Yeah. He's just, anyway. It's because they think they need him for space, Kathy. That's exactly it. Yeah. SpaceX is basically too important to fail, so to speak. If we lose SpaceX, we're set back on a lot of stuff, and that's why they do it. They basically, again, he wouldn't have this clearance. He wouldn't get these contracts otherwise. But again, he's a security threat. You don't keep people who are security threats because, they do a lot of important business for us, right? He's a security threat. It's just unbelievable. Any case, Washington Post. So for the first time in decades, the Washington Post is not endorsing anyone for president. They're claiming that it's not a slight against Kamala Harris, but that Jeff Bezos, the billionaire from Amazon, who owns the Washington Post, which is one of our top 3 papers in America, really Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, that Bezos has decided he doesn't want to endorse anybody ever again. The Washington Post newsroom, very unhappy. He claims we are returning to our roots of not endorsing presidential candidates. The decision was made by Bezos. I mean, it sounds like he got beaten up by the Republicans. That's what it sounds like to me. But anyway, yes, my mug is huge, Amanda. I love this mug. Although, okay, it's a little smaller once it gets next to my face. But if I go here, no, I have a coffee mug and a tea mug. I got it TJ Maxx for like $5, $10 maybe, nothing, cost nothing. But I love these mugs. They're gigantic and they're really fun. And I'm drinking water out of mine, but I love my mug. It's a total cop-out. Is Musk Trump's way he thinks he can end the Ukrainian war? Trump may tell Musk to shut off Starlink. He may, for example. He may. Oh, anyway, finally, the final story, and then we'll do in Ukraine. The House Freedom Caucus. So the House Freedom Caucus is the crazy far right Republican. Actually, no, sorry, Amanda. These are mugs that I bought to keep in Chicago because Mom had little those little American coffee cups that are like 6 ounces that drive me crazy. So I went and I bought myself coffee cups, and these have stayed at my mother's house for the last 15 years. So now they're finally going back to DC with me. Even better than I brought them from DC. I kept them here, and she'd keep them in a little drawer, and nobody was allowed to touch my coffee cups. So anyway, the House Freedom Caucus is the far right. Well, they used to be far right. Now they're kind of far fascist because they're super Trumpers, among other things. And Trump is not right wing. Trump is fascist. He's kind of left. He's kind of right. He's kind of middle. He's just a corrupt politician, basically, who does everything for himself and hates people and just goes after his enemies. He's not right or left. The Freedom Caucus used to be far right conservative. Now it's just fascist. It's MAGA fascist. But nonetheless, the head of the Freedom Caucus, they're still very influential. They're the most conservative members of Congress and the most right wing in principle. And the head came out today and suggested that the state of North Carolina, which is a hugely important state for the American election, could just simply decide. The conservative Republican legislature could just decide on its own that Donald Trump won the election in North Carolina before the votes are cast. So the way elections work in America, you've got to win state by state. The states count the votes and then certify that, and then they send it to Washington. A little more complicated because, as I've told you guys before, each state is assigned a certain number of points based on the population of the state, and you, as a candidate, you've got to win 270 points in order to become president. So you win Washington, D.C.'s 3 points. You win California's 54 points, right? You start adding up the points, and when you hit 270, you're president. Only one person can get to 270. So North Carolina, like every other state, very important. It's also a swing state. It's one of those states that kind of goes back and forth. Very important for the presidential election. And the Republicans in North Carolina are now saying, listen to this. This is, again, how corrupt the Republican Party is. The Republicans in North Carolina are now saying, we just had a hurricane. It's making it a lot of people lost their homes. They lost power, right? It's making it very hard to vote. And we, the Republican legislature in North Carolina, are convinced that Donald Trump would have won the election if the hurricane didn't hit. But now that the hurricane hit, a lot of people can't vote. So we think the election's not going to be fair. And we think that Republicans would have won, but now they won't because the hurricane wiped out their homes or whatever. So even if the Democrats win the election in North Carolina, even if Kamala Harris wins, they're talking about certifying Donald Trump as the winner because they know that Trump would have really won. This is how freaking corrupt the Republican Party is. I mean, it is. We've talked about this before. They, as most fascist movements do, they love to blame. Thank you, Kano, for the gifts, by the way. They love to blame Democrats. Oh, Democrats are so corrupt. Democrats are stealing the election. Every election, it's always been the Republicans trying to steal. The last election, the Republicans literally tried to violently overthrow our government to steal the election. Then there was an investigation of the elections going back 20 years. There were, I told you guys this, I forgot the number. Was it something like one case of voter fraud per election? It was such a small amount. It was nothing. Many times the voter fraud in our presidential elections has been Republicans, which is very funny too. It's not Democrats. But there's literally like this much voter fraud. There's literally no voter fraud in our elections at all. Next to nothing. And certainly nothing that matters. You can do a search on this again. I did a show. We talked about it during one of the shows about how shockingly small the voter fraud. It was like 20 fraud votes out of 1 billion or something. It was crazy. But this is what Republicans do. So they're literally talking. Now, again, legally, they can't do this unless a Republican court tells them they can. Legally, they're not allowed to say, oh, Donald Trump won, even though he lost. We know he would have won if there wasn't a hurricane that knocked out people's homes and they weren't able to vote. So we're just going to give him the election anyway. Again, this is fascism. This is fascism. It was literally 1 billion. Oh, Frank, it literally was 1 billion. Oh, no, it literally was 1 billion. The article of the last 20 years, 1 billion people voted. Because, by the way, last election, 150 million voted. So over 20 years, it's 1 billion. 1 billion people voted, and it was something like a couple dozen or something cases of voter fraud. It was insane how few cases of voter fraud there were. Google it. I mean, because people never believe it until they, again, the difference between Republicans and the rest of humanity is the rest of humanity will literally tell you, go Google it for yourself. Republicans will never tell you that because lies don't stand up when you Google them. But Google it. It was ridiculous how few cases of voter fraud there are. We don't have much voter fraud in America. But again, if you're a Republican, you're not very popular. Your views are not popular. Being anti-American, hating the troops, loving America's enemies, hating our allies, hating Black people, hating women, hating Muslims, hating Arabs, hating Latinos. It's not really a popular view. Taking away abortion rights from women, right? It's not very popular. So you've got to be, and giving away our secrets to foreign enemies like Trump was doing. If you got to kind of lie to people or you're going to lose elections. So Republicans just lie. And unfortunately, their voters are so gullible that a lot of them just believe it. Again, we're dealing with, sadly, people that are not very, not just educated, but they're gullible. They're very, willing to believe lies and wanting to believe lies. But I think that's the fascism part again. Fascism it's all about sort of willing victims of, okay, yeah, you're telling me that the sky is no longer blue and now it's yellow. Okay. And tomorrow it's red. Okay. Right. I don't care. It's blind obedience. Exactly. But it's intentionally blind obedience. Intentionally obedient and intentionally blind. It's both, right? Anyway, let's move on. So we're talking about Ukraine. Day 973 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. This was fascinating. Estonian intelligence from Estonia says that Russian losses in Ukraine for October could hit 40,000. That would be 40,000 men killed or wounded. Okay. What's important about that, though, 40,000 a month is 480,000 a year killed or wounded. In the first 2.5 years, actually 2 3/4 years now, almost 2 3/4, maybe 2 2/3 years. So in the first, let's say 2.5, let's be conservative. In the first 2.5 years of the war, the Russians have lost 600,000 men, 600,000 casualties, which means killed or injured. You count both. 600,000 in 2.5 years versus 480,000 in 1 year. That's what they're looking at this year. It's horrific. I mean, it's great, obviously, if you don't believe in fascism and genocide, but it's just a horrific number that Putin, and this is part of the reason, by the way, that the Russians are getting the North Koreans to come fight for them because Putin needs bodies. He's killed too many and injured too many of his own people. But that's just, I mean, this is a horrific number. And you got to think, too, Russia's a smaller country than ours. There are 153 million people, something like that, or they were. It's just shocking. Dutch intelligence has confirmed that Russia has deployed at least 1,500 troops from North Korea to fight in the Ukraine war. This, according to the Dutch defense minister. Quote, we expect the troops will mainly be deployed in Kursk, which is the Russian region that Ukraine is currently occupying part of, and consist of mainly special units from the North Korean army, adding that the first deployment was a way for Russia to test the troops and to gauge international reaction. That's funny. I like this guy. I told you that. Remember I told you yesterday that the reason I think that Putin is using the North Korean troops in Russia, he's not using them in Ukraine yet. We believe he's only using them in Russia to try to take back the Russian land that the Ukrainians are occupying. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Sunita. Is because it's kind of a cute way of doing it halfway, right? If he invades Ukraine with North Korean troops, that could bring in French troops. It could bring in, who knows, right into Ukraine. But by doing it in Russia, Putin's allowed to let North Korean troops come to Russia. That's okay. But bringing North Korean troops to fight in Europe, that's a different question, right? So Putin's playing a game to see what our reaction is. And the next thing he wants to do is basically probably bring these North Korean troops into Ukraine to fight if he thinks that the reaction he's getting from the West isn't much of a big deal. That people aren't so pissed. They're pissed, but they're not going to do anything about him bringing the North Koreans in. So then he's going to use them more and more. All right. This is funny too. I saw this story today. This is hilarious. Russia plans to assign an interpreter to every 30 North Korean soldiers for better interaction on the battlefield, according to Ukraine's military intelligence. So two things going on here. One, the fact that they need an interpreter for every 30 troops means the North Korean troops aren't communicating very well with the Russians. It's hard to synchronize your efforts with people you can't speak to. I mean, that's got to be an effort right there, right? Or a problem right there, which is good news that the Russians cooperating with the North Koreans is going to be difficult. The second thing is, as a student of history, I have been to the Soviet Union. I've not been to North Korea, but I've been to the Soviet Union, horrifying place that it was. When Russia says we're going to put an interpreter with every 30 North Korean troops, what they mean is we're going to put a spy who's with our secret police with every 30 North Korean troops to make sure they don't defect. That's what that is. That is absolutely what it is. The Soviet Union, which Russia was basically the head of back for 70 years in the 1900s, actually not 1990s, horrific dictatorship. They would have government housing, and they would have somebody in each government housing block who was like the spy, and they would keep tabs of their neighbors and basically report back to headquarters. And the entire country was made up of spies. The Germans were just as bad. But they would basically have spies with everyone so that you really couldn't do anything against the revolution because you'd get caught. And part of it is stuff like this. I guarantee you these interpreters are interpreting. I think they're also there to make sure the North Korean troops don't escape. I hope they do. I hope a lot of them do. It'd be really funny if they did. What else we got here? Putin says Russia is not planning any concessions in a future peace discussions with Ukraine. Any outcome must be in Russia's favor. I say directly without any embarrassment, and must be based on the realities on the battlefield. So Putin's saying that I visited the Soviet Union in 1984 and then visited Russia in 1993. In Petropavlovsk was where I went in 1993. But in the Soviet Union, I went to Moscow and Leningrad. So Putin is basically saying that if there's a peace talk, thank you, Shorty, if there's a peace talk or peace talks with Ukraine, he is going to insist on keeping the land he's already taken, and he's not going to make any concessions. So basically, Ukraine can unilaterally surrender to the Russian genocide, or they can suck it. Because he knows that Trump, especially if Trump wins, Ukraine's dead. But also he still knows that the allies are getting tired and everything else. It's bad all around. Again, we haven't stood up to Putin. We're going to pay the price. Interesting. I wasn't going to report on this today, but Jamie Dimon, who's help me, JP Morgan. Am I right? JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. He's the head of one of the big investment banks. I think it's JP Morgan. Famous financial guy. And help me out, guys. What, Chase? Is he Chase? Okay. I knew it was one of the big ones. I'm forgetting. Well, no, I'm seeing yes. No, which one is it? I don't think he's Chase. He's JP Morgan. Or is it JP Morgan Chase now? Oh, thank you, Travis. I was just going to say thank you, Travis. As soon as I said JP Morgan, I was going, JP Morgan Chase sounds familiar. Right. Okay. No, but isn't JP Morgan Chase the combination now? Help me out here. Yeah, JP Morgan Chase, exactly. But we still say JP Morgan for short. That's what it is. Okay. But he was talking today about how important the war in Ukraine was because of nuclear proliferation, he was saying, which I thought was very interesting. Now, the quotes were, I'm going to turn the light down a little bit because it's getting a little bright for me now that the lights are going down, now that the sun's setting. It was a little confusing. Now I'm going to put a little more light back, because he was talking about the threat of Ukraine to nuclear proliferation. I think what he means is something that I've been talking about for a while, which is, first he talked about Russia threatening to use its nukes and basically getting its way by throwing its nukes around. And he didn't explain why that's a problem besides it's obnoxious. The problem, I think, with nuclear proliferation here is, meaning other countries getting nukes, is twofold. One, everybody in the world is watching Russia. And they're watching Russia get away with literally murder because Russia has nuclear weapons, right? Russia can bring the North Koreans in. Russia is literally, sure, the world is rallied around Ukraine, but only to a certain degree, right? Ukraine's still in trouble in this war. And the Oh, sorry, 1 second. Oh, but what they're seeing is the Russians have gotten away with a ton because they have nuclear weapons and we're afraid of them and we're afraid of their nukes. And it's telling them, you know what? If you have nuclear weapons, you can get away with murder. You should get nuclear weapons. That's the first lesson of the war. The second lesson of the war is if you have nuclear weapons, don't ever give them up. Ukraine had nuclear weapons. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, again, brutal, horrible dictatorship that it was, dissolved in 1991, the Ukrainians, different parts of the Soviet Union had the nuclear weapons that they had. The Ukrainians had nukes, the Russians had nukes, the Belarusians, I believe, had nukes, and the Ukrainians gave up their nukes in exchange because Bill Clinton begged them to and promised America will defend you from Russia. Don't worry. The Russians promised, oh, we'll never attack you. They signed a document, and Russia has now attacked Ukraine twice. And America, the first time, didn't even come to Ukraine's defense, and the second time, we did, but we only did halfway. This time I've talked about it before. Biden wanted a tie, and he got a tie. He wanted to make sure Ukraine didn't lose, but he wanted to make sure Ukraine didn't win. He didn't want Russia to lose because Russia has nukes, and oh my God. So the second lesson here, thank you, Succeed. The first lesson, if you have nuclear weapons, you can push around America and everybody else. The second lesson is if you have nuclear weapons and you give them up, no one will defend you, even if they promise to defend you. Don't ever give up your nuclear weapons. So this is not good. This is the problem. The name of the document Russia signed were the Budapest Memorandum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Budapest Memorandum. Thank you, Jay Shea. Thank you, Succeed. It's very upsetting. It's just, and again, super dangerous for nuclear proliferation because the Russians are showing every country in the world, you need nukes. You need nukes. Hey, Aaron. No, but I'll take it. Anyway, very scary stuff. Let me give you one more story. Russia, this is horrific. I heard about this the other day too. The Wall Street Journal finally did an article on it. The Russians are providing the Houthi. I keep calling them Houthi or Houthi. I never know which one, how you pronounce it. The rebels in Yemen that are sort of controlling much of Yemen. They're basically terrorists. Yemen's a little country in the Persian Gulf, sort of off of the Red Sea, south of Iran. A lot of the oil, not just the oil, but the world's commercial shipping. I want to say, is it 40%? It's a huge percent of the world's commercial shipping of commerce goes right next door. Well, they've been blowing up ships, and they've been doing it for a while. And they claim they're doing it for the Palestinians. They've been doing this for a while. They're basically terrorists. They're not doing it for the Palestinians. They're just terrorists because they're attacking everybody. Well, they've been attacking commercial shipping. It's been causing a big problem. We now find out the Russians have been giving them satellite data to make it easier for them to attack international shipping and shut down. We're talking shutting down world commerce, guys. 40% of world commerce they're trying to shut down. And the Russians are helping them because the Russians are terrorists. Russia is a terrorist state. And Putin thinks anything he can do to just cause mayhem and chaos internationally will make the international order have to focus on this disaster, and they won't be focusing on Ukraine. No, it is, Francis says Russia needs to go. Ronald Reagan called them the evil empire. He wasn't wrong. Yeah, you talk stupid isn't English, rah, TikTok. It's you're talking stupidly. You talk stupid. Actually, you talk stupid is something that somebody says if you talk stupid. Then you talk stupid. But yeah, you might want to brush up on your English before you come and try to attack an American online forum of people who are rather educated, because you're going to embarrass yourself very badly. This is not a Rocky movie. Exactly, Blue Ariel. This is not a Rocky movie. We expect a certain level of education and intellect on my show. Thank you. The goat is buried upstairs. I don't think I'm going to find the goat until I'm back to DC. I will try, but I've not been able to locate him. Thank you, Francis. I had put a bunch of stuff upstairs when I was gone for a weekend in DC, and it's kind of buried up there. So yeah, I think the goat's staying for now. Anyway, oh boy. So anyway, that's it for the news today. I go back to DC next Saturday in a week. So 8 days from now. Very exciting, I guess. Kind of weird. Thank you, Vampy, for the gift. Thank you, Mark, as well, for the ICU. Yes, Allie, we have our ally. Thank you, NJ. We have a little goat that is this little Greek goat that you put with a battery and you push it, it goes, Rah! It screams like a goat. And Nia Vardalos, who is the actress and writer from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, was playing with it on Twitter at one point. And I wrote, I think she was following me at this point. So I wrote her, which was very cool. She was following me on Twitter. So I wrote her and I said, where did you get that from? And because I said, that's fabulous. She goes, oh, I got it on Amazon. So I went and she sent me the link and I went on Amazon and bought it. So I call it my Nia Vardalos goat now. And being Greek, of course, you know, we are partial to goats in terms of raising them, but also eating them, I will admit. So it's my Greek goat. So goats and donkeys. Betsy, I will be back in Chicago for Christmas. After that, who knows, you know, who knows? Anyway, goats are good. I mean, again, I feel bad because goats are also very friendly. I learned goats are very tasty, but they are very friendly, which made me feel bad. Am I leaving now? No, I leave in a week for Chicago, or for DC. I'm sorry, I'm in Chicago now. Anyway, oh boy. Oh, actually, I would have mentioned it here too. If anybody's interested, I am trying to sell my bike that I've had since I was a kid. I've had it in my mom's garage for 50 years. It's a 1967 Schwinn Stingray Fastback, copper tone, very cool, 5-speed speed shift. And I'm trying to sell it, and it's doing okay. People are being a little dicky on Facebook Marketplace. I don't like selling to people online. I find people have just gotten obnoxious, but it's doing okay. But if anybody's looking for a bike, like an old style Schwinn, the only thing is I don't know how the hell to mail it. I don't know. Mailing it, I think, is going to be scary, but probably better if you're local. My friend Damien has been taking care of my plants in DC. He's been house sitting for me for 2.5 months. God bless Damien. Although he says he likes my apartment because it's a fun apartment with a big TV. So God bless Damien. So yeah, he's been staying there taking care of my plants. So some people do ship them, but I was like, oh God, it just feels like it's way too much trouble to ship them, I mean, I don't know whether local bike shops would care, Amanda. I mean, I called one vintage bike guy. Everyone I talk to is like, oh my God. Like they hear about my bike and they see it and they go, oh my God, because also it was my first bike. I'm probably the first owner, possibly the second, but I think I'm the first owner. And then it sat in the garage for 50 years. Don't ship a bike with UPS. Yeah. I don't want to have to deal with it, But anyway, yes, I'm trying to get rid of my bike, but I've been not enjoying Facebook Marketplace as an experience, to be honest. Oh, hey, Michael, somebody gave you a gift subscription. I don't know who it was, though, if anybody knows, but thank you, whoever gave Michael a gift subscription on TikTok. Ship Greyhound bus. That's kind of funny. Oh, that's kind of funny, actually. I never thought of that. What do you just go and put it in the underneath of the bus, and then when it gets to the town, the person knows to get it? I never thought of it. That's actually kind of a smart idea if the bus goes directly, Interesting. Oh, that's crazy, Elena. Wow. Offer up is better to sell locally. I can look. I don't even know of it. Offer up. I'll check it out. But yeah, I just find Marketplace. You know what pissed me off the most? I basically went and found out the value of them. I went to all the bike forums and talked to literally the Schwinn experts, and they literally told me what it's worth. They says, yeah, this is what you should offer. Yeah, and I gave like the lower end of what they said. They go, this is what it's worth. If you fix it up, it's worth this much, but obviously just selling it the way it is. And on Amazon, on Marketplace, everyone wants me to come down in price. And for a couple of people, I came down in price. No one wants to come up in price. They offer a price and they literally stick with it, and that's it. And like you come down a little bit, they refuse to move. And finally, like one guy did that, and I finally got kind of pissed off. He's the one who offered the most money so far. And I'm thinking of just sitting on the bike till next spring, having it sit with my nephew. Because I got so pissed. I was like, how rude. Like, you want me to keep coming down in price, but you're not. He wouldn't go up $25. That's what really pissed me off. I was like, $25? Really? So people are just obnoxious. I really, I'd give it to a charity, I think, before I sold it to that guy. It was just rude. But put a Foot Locker on our bus back in 1975 because it wouldn't fit in your car. That's funny. Now that's funny, Gunther. Start at the higher price to have the buffer to go down. Some of the guys told me that in the bike forum. They said you should have asked too much, because then you could have dropped the price by 200 or 100 or 200, and then people would feel like they're getting a deal. I'm a little too honest that I'm like, no, this is the price. I've talked to all the experts. This is the lower end of the price, but so freaking obnoxious, you know? Anyway, that's very funny though. Yeah, maybe I will kill the ad and put it up more expensive and let someone come to me. Lord and Beast, I don't know all the details of it, so I can't talk about it. Yeah, no, I got a decent offer, but that's the guy where I was willing to come down some and he wouldn't go up 25. I finally got him where I was like, just give me 25 more bucks and I'll be happy. Wouldn't do it. And then I was kind of like, fuck you. Like, you want me to come down like 75 bucks, or no, he wanted me to come down 100 bucks, but he wouldn't go up 25. And I was like, I didn't tell him fuck you, but it was like, fuck you. Because at some point, I'm sorry, and I know with money, you probably shouldn't care about it, but at some point I get annoyed with people that are being dicks, you know? And I'm like, this is my childhood bike that I've had for 50 years in the attic. I don't want to just give it to anybody who's being a dick. And I think if you can't give me $25 more, you're being a dick. But people, unfortunately, the way they drive is the way they sell online. It's all the same. People are kind of dicky, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people. It shouldn't be the principle, because obviously a lawyer or somebody would tell you for $25, just take it. But I'm like, you want me to come down 100, but you won't come up 25 to meet me. That's obnoxious. I'm sure he wants to resell it, but it's a great deal. The bike's worth $1,000, like probably $800 or $900 more if he fixes it up, you know? Thank you, Lord and Beast. I mean, I am going to sit on it. Actually, I've already told people that. I said, I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to literally store it at my nephew's house till spring. And when the weather's warm and people want to ride bikes, I'm listing it again. Because I said, I'm not going to be pushed into this. I'm not going to be, you know, but anyway, whatever. I don't want to keep harping on it, but it has not been a pleasant experience trying to sell stuff on market. Also, I think it's Chicago area. People here just don't pay for stuff on Facebook. And it's weird. In DC, they pay for it, you know, but here they don't pay for it, which also makes me wonder too. Except DC is a smaller area. Like, you know, Chicago is a much bigger metropolitan area. So it's probably easier to sell stuff, I would think. You know, the older you get, you can't deal with people anymore. I do feel like that to some degree. You know, it's just the obnoxious thing mounted on my wall. Yeah, it's a bike, though. It's a cool bike, though. 1967, only was ridden for a few years and then literally hung in the attic for 50 years. You know, 650, I'm asking. User 609. I will tell you, what the experts told me, again, I'm too honest about this. The experts, because I checked with all of them, told me, they said it's worth 600 to 800 as is. That's what they said. They basically told me, they said, if you want to sell it in 10 minutes, offer it for 550. If you want a fair price, 6 to 650. If you really want to go to the limit, 800. And they said, if you ask 1,000, you'll never sell it. But they said it's worth 1,500 once it's cleaned up. So I was like, I'll do 650. That's just a little bit more than the bottom edge of what they said. And everyone's going 550. And you're just like, come on. You know, whatever. It's just, yeah. So anyway, that's, 650 I'm asking. But it's very cool. And like I said, the more I talked to sort of the experts about it, they were like, it's got a 5-speed gear shift. It's got all the stickers on it. It's got a lot of corrosion because it's 50 years old, but it's got a lot of the original, the Q thing that I didn't even know about. Anyway, it's annoying. Get off my lawn. Exactly. Anyway, yes, it's a banana. Of course, it's a banana seat. Of course. Too bad I don't have the picture handy. It's on my, well, I know we're talking about my bike. I could print it. Just to show you for fun. Let me print it just for fun. Since you all know I like to do the personal stuff here. How can I talk to an expert? I don't know. Go online and look up forums. That's what I do. Just go online and, you know, look for people. Oops, where is this? I'm trying to find, there's Marketplace here. One moment here. I will try to post my or just I can do a picture of my picture, maybe. Oh no, it's on my computer. I'm being an idiot. Of course I can do a picture here. 1 second here. Who was that? Thank you, Jamie. I've got it right here. I'm being silly. One right here. Let me see. Schwinn. Take 2. Here we go. I'll just take like the big. Yeah, it's a good enough picture. It's a good enough picture. All right. I don't want to like waste too much computer ink, but what the hell? Show you guys my bike. I mean, trust me, there's a part of me that almost is like, you know what? Maybe it would be fun to just like fix it up and ride it. Although in DC, I'd be terrified riding a bike in DC that fixed up is worth, $2,500 or $1,500. I'd be like, that would scare me a little bit. Let me see if this prints in color. Let's try. Hello. Do you need to go pee and interrupt my show a little bit? I'm thinking you do. Okay, she does. All right, give me a quick second. We're gonna take the dog. I'm gonna take the dog to pee and be back. You know how this works. She looked at the door. She looked at the door and went, which is what she does. I'll be right back. Come on, let's go out real quick. Let's go. Miss typical pee in the middle of my show. Could you ever not pee in the middle of my show? Would that be a thing we could do someday? Maybe. Oh. Hey, I'm back. We're back. We are back. One moment. Oh. All right. Oh boy, it's printing slowly. All right, I may be wasting a ton of ink on this bike print. Let's see. It's going slowly, which is worrying me. But where's my? Hang on. Looking for my. There's my screen. There you all are. Oops, I'm trying to see. Is it still printing? It's still printing. Okay, it's still printing. I know. I need to find. You're right. I'll find the Venn diagram of my fan and a bike lover who appreciates that it was my bike. But no, it's very annoying. Iran has started strikes against Iran just now. Is that true, Primal? Interesting. That's kind of funny. That's a funny point, WC. I will tell you, a part of me does kind of feel that way. You're right. Look for a kid and say, how would you like a bike that if your dad fixes it up, right? That's kind of interesting. It's a little hard to point my camera at the screen because both of my iPad is TikTok and my iPhone is doing YouTube right now. So like it's confusing. I'm going to see if the printer, of course, is printing slowly in color. Oh boy, it's printing well. Although it's printing, I think, too high quality of a photo. Wasting a little bit of ink here, but what do you do? Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Ava. Anyway, Jed has been away on vacation. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. The lemonade thing. Oh, it's coffee, Melissa. Okay, I thought even better. I'm more of a coffee. I just made some homemade lemonade. Because it's been so warm out. What the hell? I told you guys that recipe that guy William has, the Canadian guy who does all the really cool cooking with his buxom girlfriend. He's got a very nice. It's a 5-speed stick shift. Yep. But it's just kind of annoying me at this point. I'm just like, and I just, yeah. Oh, it might be done. One moment. It did print pretty well. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah. Printers are funny. I mean, it is kind of amazing what you can print nowadays. You know what I mean? Bring the bike in. I guess I could do. That's true. I could bring the bike in, but this is the bike. Actually, the picture ended up being pretty good. The picture is surprisingly good, actually. That's the bike. So yes, anybody want it? Let me know. I mean, I'd like you to pay for it because it would be nice to get something for my little bike. But yeah, and again, no, the thing is, it is corroded. This is a 5-speed. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of corrosion on the metal. There is. I mean, on the handlebars and on the wheels, there is. But all the experts that still saw the pictures were like, "Oh, that's really nice." Yeah. Well, the shift is considered a big deal, which is the other thing that's annoying to me because the shift is considered a big deal for these bikes. And you probably can't tell here, but all the stickers are there. Like there's stickers on the back. What is it on the front? It's hard to see, but like all the stickers are there. Again, you'd have to sort of see it in person to appreciate. Anyway, it's a great little thing. It's a Stingray. It's a Stingray Fastback, which was I think like a quicker, maybe more low. It might have been a lower cost version of the Stingray, but it was considered like more of a quick bike, the Fastback. Yeah. Anyway, I'm asking $650, Mundashi, because as I said, all the bike experts I talked to online said they felt, because again, they weren't trying to buy it. So they said they felt it was worth $600 to $800 the way it is. And cleaned up, it would be worth, they think it could be worth $1,500 cleaned up, at least $1,200. They're going for $1,200 easily on eBay cleaned up. But as I said, they thought $600 to $800. So they told me, if you offer $550, somebody will buy it in 10 minutes. If you want a fair price, maybe $600, $650. So that's why I thought I'd ask $650. So I'm not going to go like crazy, but I feel like, it's I was telling my sister, I feel like it's the only thing I ever invested in that actually paid off, even though I didn't invest in it. My dad bought it for me in the early 1970s, but it does not have the sissy bar. No, my brother's has the sissy bar. Mine had the short one. I didn't like the long sissy bar. He liked it. He had one too. I think he fixed it up for his son, I think. That's interesting, Joe Doer. I have to think of, let me think about that. Let's see. That's funny. Joe Doer says, if I sent you 150, would that help you donate it to a kid? That's interesting. That's an interesting idea. That's interesting. I mean, I will admit the fact that it's $650 worth makes me a little less likely to just give it up because I'm like, that's real money to me. Like I'm not rich. If it were like $100 bike, I'd be like, it's $100 bike. Who cares? Yeah, I'm not going to donate it to Goodwill. No, I don't mind Goodwill, but all they're going to do is sell it to somebody else anyway. A kid may trash it. Yeah. The thing is, it would be nice if you could find like a kid. I did call the American Pickers people and left a message, but I suspect so many people do it that I think it would be hard to find that is what I am told, Chuck. Exactly. Now, again, the condition of the corrosion is not great on the handlebars and on the wheels. There's a lot of corrosion, but all the other, I did what you're supposed to do. I mean, on Facebook, but also with the bike forums, thank you, Wanderings. I gave, and Ava, I took pictures of the corrosion. There's a rip in the seat this big. Or not a rip. It's a crack. It's not a rip. It's a crack in the seat. But I did all of that. And even looking at that, all of them said, that's a very nice bike and very collectible. Exactly. And that actually, Chuck, that you must know bikes. That's exactly what they said. They said, with restoration, it's about $1,500 they felt. That's exactly what they said. Yep. And they told me, I don't know if you were here earlier, they told me they think it's worth $600 to $800. He said, offer $550 if you want to sell it in 10 minutes, meaning that's a really cheap price. But he said, otherwise $600 to $800 is fair. And I thought $650, right? Like, how about a little bit above bottom, but not even near the top? But it's, let's see, I'm trying it on Amazon. On Facebook, which I find difficult, one of the Pickers guys died. Yeah, actually, I'll Google the Israel stuff right now, by the way, as we're talking. But yeah, anybody wants my bike, let me know. News. It's a Schwinn Fastback Stingray 1967 body. It's an MC serial number, which means the frame is from December of 1967. Some of the experts kept thinking it's a 1968 bike. And one of the guys, we know the frame is December 1967 because it's MC. But what another guy said was, yes, the frame is is made in 1967, December, but they sold it as a 1968 model, perhaps, is what he thought. Any case, just to give you more background, but yeah, it's an MC serial number, which makes it 1967 officially, but depending how you guys count it, it could be either one, I guess. No, I'm not seeing anything about Israeli airstrikes. No, I'm not seeing any about Israeli airstrikes. Me riding it as a kid, that's a good question. I don't know. We've got a picture of my brother riding his. I don't know. I don't think we've got the picture in, because we did a bunch of picture books of my brother and, of the family. And I remember there's this wonderful picture of my brother riding his bike in the late 60s because he had the sissy bar. And mine does not have the sissy bar. I don't know that we've got pictures of me riding it. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to look at this again. I am not seeing. Let me go to Washington Post and see what it says about Iran getting bombed. Let me see. Hold on. Iran, Israel. Let's look for that. But yeah, I should have been telling you guys about this. I've been trying to list it on Amazon and didn't think of mentioning to you all. Yeah, Twitter's a good idea, Ed. So that's true. You're right. I forget about it, but hold on, let's see. It's got to be on Twitter. It's not even on the news yet. I mean, maybe CNN, like you said. Hang on. Let me look on my Twitter here. Of course, Twitter, Elon Musk screwed it up because Elon Musk changed Twitter so that you don't always get instantaneous news, which is what I'm looking for. It's showing me stuff from 2 days away. Seriously? All right, let me go. I've got an Israel section on Twitter. Let me look at that instead. Israel begins its attacks against Iran early Saturday morning local time in retaliation for its massive ballistic missile attack. Two sources tell Barak Ravid, who's a very good journalist. Intense air activity over the skies of Tehran right now. These will almost certainly be Iranian aircraft. Israel would be using air-launched ballistic and cruise missiles for an operation like this, launching from outside Iranian airspace. Israel conducted airstrikes in Iran, two sources say. Iranian state media reports explosions in and around Tehran. This is literally happening now. So 30 minutes ago is when the first explosions were reported. Just looking if we got anything else on here. Yeah. Yep. There was communication with the Americans ahead of the strikes over the past several days. Local sources in southern Syria report Israel strikes hit an Assad regime air defense and radar base as well. Okay. Nothing else definitive yet. Yeah, I'm on CNN. I'm not surprised. There's nothing else. Okay. Nothing else here yet, guys. All right. Ooh, boy. Discord bike pics. I will put them on Discord. I'll put them on Discord. That's a good idea. Actually, I'm a terrible salesman. I've got Discord. Even you guys, I didn't tell you for 4 or 5 days that I was trying to sell the damn bike. I'm bad about that. I will absolutely or mods remind me to put the pictures up on Discord. That's a great idea. Because you're right. I keep forgetting, like, that's an audience of people. And if you can share it with people, you never know if you got somebody local enough. Because as we said, shipping a bike is not fun. People were telling me, oh, it's easy. Just disassemble it. And I was like, you've got to. I said, you're a bike expert. That's why it's easy. This is not easy. Raffle the bike. Raffles are not legal. There's all sorts of rules for raffles. They're kind of illegal in a way because every state has different rules. I could sell the bike, auction it, but then I still have to get it to you. So I almost would auction it, but how do I get it to people? You know what I mean? Or you go to UPS and you pay $300. Or what do you do? Go to a bike shop first and have them pack it and then go to UPS, I guess. I could call a bike shop. I should do that, actually. I should call a bike shop and say, what would you charge to pack a bike for shipping? That's not a bad idea, actually. I didn't think of that. And then I could call UPS and say, this is the box. This would be the weight, right? What would the price be? That's not a bad idea, actually. Okay, anyway. Buyer is responsible for shipping, but it's still complicated and could be $300. That's the problem. Although there's some bike shipping company or something, you bike people will know. that people were telling me about. I just didn't, and I should have put it online nationwide, but I was afraid it'd just be too hard to ship, or too expensive to ship. So we should continue to talk about this because, again, I'd like to sell it. I could take it to DC, but I mean, I've got to get it to DC anyway. It's just, and I've got to repair it. I'd have somebody help me. At this point, I feel like it's been 50 years in mom's attic or mom's garage. It may be time just to say, I'm not going to ride the bike after 50 years. I'm trying to, cleaning out my mom's house has sort of taught me a little bit of Zen about keeping things. I'm like, all right, you don't need to keep everything, YouTube, how to ship a bike. I mean, I know you take off the handlebars. I'm just a little nervous about the whole thing. Ride the bike. I mean, the tires are flat. I have no idea if the tires would work at this point. Maybe. It's a Schwinn, a 1967 Schwinn fastback, a Stingray fastback, 5-speed. Carl, yeah. Oh, I'm definitely not touching the paint on it. Are you kidding me? Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm kind of afraid to touch it in general. Yeah, the tires are 50 years old. The tires can't work, I'm assuming. The brakes still work, though. Like, I tried the brakes. I have a video on YouTube, on Facebook. The brakes still work, which is kind of cool. That's what I'm thinking, Chuck, too. I'm going to ask my nephews if they don't mind holding on to the bike and listening it in the spring. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because right now, this is Chicago. Like, we've had beautiful weather, but nobody's thinking bikes right now. You're thinking snow, 450 is pretty good, Carl. I was offered 550 already, I will tell you. I mean, truthfully. And I told the guy no because I felt like he was being a dick. Because I was trying to get him just to come up a little bit more. And he was like, no. And he was sticking with his initial price. And I was like, all right, whatever. 700, I definitely sell it to you for sure. We just have to figure out how to get, I would sell it to you for 700. And absolutely. We just have to figure out how to get it to you, and how to get the payment, because I'm a little nervous with people, the thing I like in person is literally you look at the bike and you know what you're getting. You give me cash. I know I'm getting the money, but also you've seen the bike. So there's no problem with people going to PayPal. Oh, I didn't get what I was sold. And this kind of, you know what I mean? That was part of the reason I felt like in person was better anyway, because for me, it's safer, but also for the person themselves, they literally see what they're getting in good light so that there's no surprises, I will check the offer up thing. I've actually got it on Facebook Marketplace. Okay. I will Google you, Carl. Well, you know what? Why don't you email me as well, Carl? We can see if there's a way of doing this. My email is my last name @gmail. So it's out there. So it's not like it's a big secret, but if you want to email me or on the Discord, if you're in our Discord community, just message me there. But maybe we can figure out a way to do it. That was my only fear about doing it by mail. I just was, A, it's expensive. B, how do you do it? C, is someone going to screw me on PayPal? And once they get my bike, say, oh, it's not what I expected. You know what I mean? I'm nervous about people. Whereas, like I said, in person, I feel like you know what you're getting. I get cash, so they can't play games, and the person can't say I didn't know what it was because literally they checked it out before they paid me. Anyway, we can talk about it. You drive 4 hours to get it? I would certainly do that too. Well, you know what? Email me as well. I mean, if you're serious, if that's not just hypothetical, Lorden, again, my last name @gmail. Message me. Carl just offered 700. So I would say whoever, if you meet that price, whoever pays me first, I'm game. But again, no, the bike would say as is. The problem is I know people who have gotten screwed on PayPal because basically they ship stuff and then the person decides to be a dick and go, well, this wasn't what I was expecting. It's got corrosion and bip. And then PayPal tends to side with the buyer. And then you're kind of screwed. Because then what am I supposed to pay? $300 to ship it back? I mean, that's my only reticence is trying to, anyway, that's my only, we'll see. That's my only reticence is I just don't know who I'm dealing with people. So I don't want people playing games, but we can see. Yep. We've got the Israel bombing stuff. Yep. We know that. Anyway, yeah, I should have mentioned it on my show earlier, but you two email me if you like, and maybe we can, and whoever pays me first, we'll do it. Um, just got my husband to ring his friend. He said the condition it is 700 pounds. Yeah. No, again, I mean, I'm being totally honest with you guys. You can even see on this picture, there's corrosion on the handlebars. The one handlebar looks not as bad, but you can see on this handlebar, and there's corrosion on the tires as well. Like the tire rims are very corroded. I mean, again, because the best way to sell something is to be honest, you know. You know. No, but and I've learned that long ago with eBay. You've got to tell people exactly what the problems are. And I've done a number of transactions, but I've always had great reviews on eBay, so to speak, because you got to be honest with people. And I want somebody to buy it knowing what it is and be happy, you know. But in any case, that's what I'm told, Chuck. People were basically, well, this is I don't want to do too many bike discussions for all you guys and bore you, but this was the discussion in the bike forum. People were like, a little steel wool, maybe 000. Then they were debating. It was kind of cute. All the experts were going, no, don't use steel wool, use copper wool. And then somebody else said, don't use copper wool, use brass wool. So they were having a debate between copper versus brass and which would be safer for the corrosion, but it was very funny. I mean, it was cute because it was like, but it also scared me. I went, I do not want to fuck with this. I said, guys, one guy wrote me a long description of how to clean it. I said, this is amazing you did this, but you also just scared the hell out of me. I don't clean bikes. I do not want to screw it up. You know, that's my concern. I would do it with somebody who knows bikes. Then I would consider doing it as a project. Yeah. But doing it myself, I just would be afraid I'd screw it up, you know? Yeah, no, Chuck, that's exactly what everyone told me. That's why I said, like, honestly, you know, if somebody wants to give me a fair price, that's why I didn't sell it to the guy that was offering $550. I was like, no, like they told me it's worth more. I'm not going much more than that, but I'm not going to have somebody cheat me. Thank you, Jonathan. Again, I'm willing to go with the majority of the folks in the forum. They said 600 to 800, which felt to me, I was like, and the majority of them felt that way. So I said, okay, that's fair. You know, Israel just bombed their own. What do you mean their own? Who did they bomb? They bombed Iran. That's not their own. Yeah, I don't want to. And as somebody said too, you don't want to mess up the decals because the decals, most of them are still there, and those things always come off. So yeah, you want to be really careful. Let me pull up. Oh, on Twitter, pull up Iran again. Again. Hold on, let me update my. Here we go. There'll be lots of updates here, although I don't know whether we'll know yet. Okay, really get out of here, Elon. Go away. Let me see. Oh, here, Israel. 1 second here. Oops. Beep. IDF confirms launching strikes in Iran. We know that. Iran may try to escalate. In the end, Israel's going to blow the fuck out of them. So Iran needs to stop it at some point. And in the end, America will support Israel. That's not going to stop. And Iran better know. Now, the Russians would probably love it, but the Iranians need to know. And by the way, in the end, Israel has nuclear weapons. Iran doesn't. I mean, at some point, the IDF says Israeli Defense Forces say they're carrying out precise strikes on Iranian military targets. I don't think we have any news yet on what is actually happening, though. Explosions in Tehran. Israel confirms the attack. We know that. Yeah, there's no news yet, though. They're just saying that explosions in Iran and Syria. Iran does not have nukes. Iran is close to having nukes. Some people say there's a small chance Iran has nukes, but it tends to be very minor. Iran does not have nuclear weapons. They're close, but the final stages they need to get them are apparently not easy. They need to refine sort of the last bit of, I always forget if it's plutonium or uranium, but it's not easy to do apparently. So they're close, but they're, they don't have one yet. Yeah. All right, let me see what the New York Times is saying. Oh, they've got an update page. Thank you for whoever said check the New York Times. Oh, Kano, thank you for that. Okay, I already have a subscription. Don't ask me for a subscription. Go away. Hold on. Residents in Tehran reported hearing loud explosions early on Saturday. It was unclear what caused. Iran has been bracing for retaliatory strikes. Okay, that does not sound like updates. Sounds of bombs and explosions. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, these are not updates. A prominent journalist in Iran said 5 large explosions were heard in Tehran within about 10 seconds. He said Iranian Air Force jets have taken off in the western part of the country, except I read that Iran doesn't really have much of an Air Force, so not sure what they're going to do. Let me see here. Large explosions. No, you're simply, the only news so far is large explosions in Tehran. That's it. That's it. There's no, I kind of have a feeling Twitter is going to have more updates than this. Yeah, I'll keep following on Twitter. Woo-woo, we hit 100,000 views today. That's good. Or 100,000 likes, even better. Thank you, guys. Because some analysis I was seeing about the whole issue, Situ said Israel's got a great Air Force and Iran has like no Air Force. So like the Iranians need to be very careful with all this stuff. Trying to like update. Here we go. Updating the tweets. Somebody tweeted from their family in Tehran. We woke up with the sound of explosions. We still don't know what's happening, but nothing has happened to anyone. Don't worry. Can't see anything. It was just noise. The window rattled. Okay. Yeah. No, just the Israelis officially claiming credit, saying they were precise strikes on Iranian military targets. Also, it depends how much Israel does. Israel may only do a certain amount. They may not go crazy. You know, they may only go after a few targets just to sort of get their point across, and then that's it. You know, so hard to say. Oh, yep. You know, they definitely began the strikes. The question is how much of a strike Israel's doing. You know, so. Oh, laundry. You just reminded me. My laundry's downstairs, Ash. Thank God I dried it at least, but I always forget that. Israel did strike Iran in the last half hour to 45 minutes, but we don't know what they hit. Explosions in and around Tehran. The Israelis say there were precision strikes against military facilities, but we just don't know. We don't know anything yet. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Well, the uranium you're talking, right, Justin? I assume. I recognize those numbers. Anyway. So the Iranian Revolutionary Guard headquarters was hit, apparently. That would make sense. Syria, yeah, there were attacks in Syria as well. We did hear that. What else we got here? Yeah, no, there's no other details. I don't know if we're going to get details, to be honest. Yeah, just that the Israelis are confirming it. Oh, you're yawning at you all. Anyway, I don't have a lot of sympathy for Iran here. They're another terrorist state. All right, see you, Magic. Thanks for joining us. You know, so like I said, not a ton of sympathy for Iran in this battle at all. But what do you do? Oops. All right, guys. We've been doing an hour and a half now. I think I'm actually an hour 40 minutes. I think I'm going to go. Oh, well, you want it? You all excuse me. Thank you for joining, guys. Thanks for the advice on the bike. Like I said, anybody who's interested, please email me, aravosis@gmail.com. But otherwise, thanks for joining us all. Hey, Robert, thank you for coming. And we do have the Coffee Talk show tomorrow for the paid subscribers. So that'll be 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S., 10:30 a.m. Central Time, that's Chicago time. Thank you, Super Hornet. So do come by. I mentioned it to Vlad, so hopefully Vlad will join us, our Ukrainian friend. But if not, it'll just be us anyway, which is, again, it's a nice hangout. We talk. We'll probably talk about my bike, whatever we talk about. But okay, guys, have a good night. Thanks for joining us all. Thanks for the gifts. Thank you, mods. And I will see somebody. I'm going to yawn again. Oh, my God. Oh, my dog had me up. Thank you, user 336. My dog had me up all night last night because we had thunderstorms in Chicago. And I swear, and she drank too much water, so she had to pee at like 1 a.m. She woke me up. Then she had to poop at like 5 a.m. She woke me up. It's pouring rain and thunder and lightning the whole time. I'm outside at 1 a.m. with my umbrella because she won't go out in the rain. So I have this big umbrella and I have to hold it over her head. So it's like the Peanuts cartoon. So like it looks like it's not raining to her. So she's totally fooled into thinking it's not raining. So I'm holding the umbrella getting wet, and literally I'm seeing lightning and thunder, and I'm sitting here thinking, going, I'm going to die. This little bitch of a dog is going to kill me. Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, I mean, literally lightning and thunder around you. You're holding an umbrella going, could I be any stupider at this point? So she did not. That dog is a diva. And then she's terrified. So comes inside. She's shaking the whole time. So I've got her in bed with me, but she's shaking. So I can't sleep. Finally gave her a pill, but it took a long time for the pill to kick in. So I'm just, and twice had to go out in the middle of the night. I was like, oh my God, I hate you. So I'm exhausted right now. So, I die for my dogs too. I held the umbrella for her, but I was kind of like, but she couldn't find the right spot. And I'm like, please pee before I die. That's all I had. Because you're sitting there going, like, the worst way to die is getting struck by lightning at 1 a.m. holding an umbrella because your dog is afraid of water. I mean, it's just like, I'm imagining people going, why did he do that? You know, she does have a litter box, but she uses it in DC when it's raining. Only in DC, and like after she wakes me up and realizes it's raining, then she goes in the litter box, and I'm like, thank you, that was very nice of you. So yes, but she does use the litter box. It's pretty cool. Oh, she looks like Hope. Oh my God, I'm tired, guys. Woo! It would be a very dumb way to die. Yes, I was like, I didn't want people going, that was just a waste. He was holding an umbrella in the rain. He deserved that. Exactly. You have to care for the creatures. Exactly, Justin. What do you do? There are babies. All right, guys. My allergies are now kicking off as I'm talking to you. My eyes are watering. All right. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow for the paid subscribers. If SNN is next to your name, or your name is green on YouTube or SNN on TikTok, that means you can join us for free. TikTok, YouTube, Discord, depending what service you're on. So yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to sign off now. Appreciate the talk. Fun as always. All right. Bye. I'm going to yawn.